Have you ever noticed how an aggressive colleague might be masking their own fears? Imagine this. You're working on a project with a colleague who's known for being quite aggressive in meetings. They often interrupt others, talk over them, and dismiss their ideas. At first, you might think they're just being rude or inconsiderate. But after some time, you start to notice that they seem particularly aggressive when faced with new ideas that are different from their own. Could it be that your colleague's aggression is actually a way of hiding their fear? In this video, we'll explore how fear can manifest as anger and aggression at work. Let's dig into it. Fear can manifest itself in many ways, and sometimes it can be hidden from plain sight. Fear can cause us to behave in unexpected ways, such as becoming angry or aggressive towards others. This is especially true in professional settings where people may feel threatened by changes to their status quo or changes to their job security. Let's break down this idea further. In a study published in the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships, researchers explored how fear affects people's interpersonal relationships. The results showed that fear was positively related to anger, which then led to aggressive behavior. So what does this mean in practice? Well, let's imagine that your company is going through some big changes. Maybe your organization is merging with another company, or maybe there is going to be some layoffs coming soon. Your colleague might feel threatened by these changes, and they might be scared about what they mean for them. Instead of acknowledging their fear, their brain might trick them into thinking that it's actually anger that they're feeling. This anger could then manifest itself as aggression towards others. Maybe they lash out at you because you suggested a different approach to the project, or maybe they snap at you for asking them to do something that they don't really want to do. It's not that they actually want to hurt you with their words or actions, but rather their fear is causing them to act out in a way that they don't really intend to. Another study published in the same journal found that people who were fearful were more likely to be aggressive towards others if they perceived that those people were in a position of power over them. So let's take our previous example of the colleague who's afraid of losing their job. If their boss suggests making some changes to their role or responsibilities, they might interpret this as a threat to their job security. As a result, they might become aggressive towards their boss or other colleagues who they perceive as having more power than them. In this situation, their aggression isn't really a reflection of how they feel about the changes being proposed, but rather a way of trying to protect themselves from them. So now that we know how fear can lead to aggression, let's talk about how we can manage it in ourselves and in others. The first step is to become aware of our own emotions and how they might be affecting our behavior. This can be difficult to do on our own, so it might be helpful to talk to a trusted friend, a family member, or a mental health professional. Once we become aware of our emotions, we need to find healthy ways to express them. This could involve things like taking deep breaths, practicing mindfulness, or using positive self-talk. We should also try to understand the emotions of others and show empathy towards them. This doesn't mean that we have to agree with everything that someone says or does, but we should try to see things from their perspective and understand why they might be feeling the way they do. Finally, we should set clear boundaries and enforce them consistently. This will help others to understand what is and isn't acceptable behavior. It's also important to remember that everyone makes mistakes. So if someone does something wrong, we should try to correct them in a respectful and compassionate way. When dealing with a colleague who's being aggressive because they're scared, it's important to remember that their behavior isn't really about you. They're not trying to make your life difficult or cause you pain. Rather, they're acting out because they're afraid of losing something that's important to them. That doesn't excuse their behavior, but it does call for a more compassionate response. Try to understand where their aggression is coming from and respond in a way that will de-escalate the situation. For example, if you're reworking on a project together and they start to get angry about a change to the plan, stay calm and try to reason with them. Explain why the change needs to happen and how it will benefit everyone involved. If they continue to be aggressive, then it might be time to disengage from the conversation and give them some space. Now let's talk about how you can handle this situation differently if you are in a position of power. When you're in a position of power, you have to be even more aware of your own emotions and how they might be affecting others. You also need to be extra careful not to inadvertently threaten people or make them feel like their jobs are in danger. When giving feedback or making changes, always be respectful and considerate of other people's feelings. This doesn't mean that you have to be a pushover or let people get away with bad behavior, but it does mean that you should try to be sensitive to their emotions and make reasonable accommodations when possible. One way to deal with an aggressive colleague who is acting out of fear is to have a private conversation with them. Express your concerns and try to get to the root of their behavior. It is possible that they were not even aware that they were being aggressive or that they were reacting out of fear. If you can help them to see the error of their ways, they may be able to change their behavior and become a more positive force in the workplace. However, if they're unwilling to listen or make changes, then you may need to take further action. This could involve writing them up or even firing them if necessary. Remember, you have a responsibility to create a safe and respectful work environment for everyone, and that includes setting clear boundaries and enforcing them consistently. In conclusion, fear can manifest itself in many ways, and sometimes it can cause us to act out in unexpected ways, such as becoming angry or aggressive towards others. This is especially true in professional settings, where people may feel threatened by changes to their status quo or changes to their job security. To manage this issue effectively, we need to become aware of our own emotions and how they affect our behavior. Find healthy ways to express those emotions and try to understand the emotions of others. Setting clear boundaries and enforcing them consistently can also help to create a safe and respectful work environment. By following these tips, we can create a more positive and productive work environment for everyone. We hope this video has been helpful in explaining how fear can lead to aggression at work. Remember that everyone acts out of motivations beyond their control, and sometimes our colleagues. Seemingly unacceptable behavior may actually stem from a place of fear. By understanding this, we can strive to create a more compassionate and understanding work environment. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to hit the like button and subscribe for more insightful content. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and colleagues who may also benefit from its message. Together, we can foster a more empathetic and supportive workplace culture.